All right, let's take a look at how we analyze a cost center responsibility report. So here in exercise 10.2, Nakamura Incorporated is assembling data related to one of their departments, a production department. They have assembled the following data for the fiscal year ending December 31st of 2017. So budgeted amounts were direct materials of 90,000, direct labor of 75,000, indirect materials of 15,000, utilities of $1,700. The actual amounts were direct materials of 93,500, direct labor of 77,000, indirect materials of 15,000, and utilities was $2,300. The production department manager has control over all costs incurred above. Based on the above, let's prepare a responsibility report for this cost center. So again, with any report, the heading is important. So we start with the name of the company, Nakamura Incorporated, the name of the report. In this case, it's a cost center responsibility report. And then we want the reporting period. In this case, it's for the year ended December 31st of 2017. So we're going to have 4 columns here, really 5 columns, but 4 official columns. We're going to have the controllable item, so the costs that we're focusing on, the budgeted amount for that cost, the actual amount for that cost, and then the variance, the difference between the two. And then we're going to label it as either favorable or unfavorable. So the 4 items that the production manager had control over were direct materials, direct labor, indirect materials, and utilities. So for materials, they had budgeted $90,000 for the year of 2017. They actually spent $93,500. So there was a $3,500 variance between the two, a difference between the two. And because that's actually going to be, oh, I have that incorrect. That's going to be an unfavorable variance since they spent more than they had anticipated. For direct labor, similar approach. They had budgeted $75,000 to spend on direct labor. They actually spent $77,000 on labor, so they spent $2,000 more than anticipated. So that's where that $2,000 variance comes into play. And obviously, we're going to label that as an unfavorable variance as well. Indirect materials came in on budget, so they had anticipated to spend $15,000. They actually spent $15,000, so there's no variance, and therefore there's obviously no labeling of it. And then for utilities, they had budgeted $1,700 to spend on utilities. They actually spent $2,300 on utilities, so another $600 difference there. So that's the variance. And again, we're going to label that as unfavorable because they spent more than anticipated. So for the year in total, they had anticipated to spend $181,700 for this production center, this cost center. They actually ended up spending $187,800. So they spent $6,100 more than anticipated. That's why we label that as an unfavorable variance. This again lets us see how well or not so well we controlled costs, starts to investigate if this is something that we need to look into or if it's just a natural occurrence that we were over budget by just a little bit.